أول ما بتلتقوا بحدا بتسألوه شو الأخبار، لهيك لنكون قراب منكن ونحكي لغتكن سمينا حالنا شو الأخبار. بلشنا بخطوة وماشيين بآلاف الأميال، خلينا شغفنا الخبر والعين اللي بنشوف فيها هالدنيا عدست كاميرتنا. قررنا نكون منكن وإلكن، تشاركنا فرحكن وحزنكن، تشاركنا مشاكلكن ووجعكن، وكنا ورح نضل منبر لجاليتنا. شو الأخبار ويب تي في باقة كبيرة ومتنوعة، برامج حوارية، تقارير إخبارية، برامج ترفيه، برامج ثقافية، بالإضافة إلى إعلاناتكن. شو الأخبار؟ الخبر اليقين. تابعونا الآن.
Hello everyone, this is Hussein Hashim from WhatsApp Media Network. صباح الخير لكم جميعا متابعين شو الأخبار ويب تي في. هيدي حلقة خاصة اجت اتس منت حلقة خاصة حبينا نعملها عن التبرع بالأعضاء الأورجان دونيشن. سميناها Let's Talk Organ Donation. دعونا نتحدث عن تبرع بالأعضاء ما بين الحواجز وما بين الهواجس. ف هيدي الحلقة رح تكون شوي تأخرنا عليكم، يعني تقريبا شي 30 minutes، بس حبينا كل ضيوفنا يكونوا موجودين، كل الاكسبرت اللي خصهم بهيدا الفيلد، لحتى نتحدث أكثر عن هذا الموضوع بطريقة تكون دقيقة كتير. فمعي بالاستوديو حسين البنى and then Ramona. Both of them, they're going to introduce themselves very shortly. You know, we're going to be speaking mostly in English. However, I'm going to translate in Arabic as much as I can throughout the conversation. رح نتحدث شوي بالإنجليزي بس كمان رح ترجم بالعربي قد ما فيني throughout the conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having us.
As early. I think this is the first time we do as you know that show that early. I'm going to start with you, Ramona. If you please can go ahead and introduce yourself and your background about the topic that we're talking about today, which is organ donation.
Okay, my name is Ramona Chapman. I am the program director for the Minority Organ Tissue Transplant Education Program and the community outreach manager at Gift of Life, Michigan. And I have 20 years experience in this particular my area. My goal and my mission is to honor life through donation with a focus on multicultural communities. And so that's what we have been doing for the last 20 years.
Awesome, Ramon. Hasina.
My name is Hasina Al-Bena. I am a nurse at Henry Ford. I've been in the transplant field for about 15 years. I work at Henry Ford Transplant Institute, and that's where I got exposed to transplant and organ donation. And my mission as well is to increase awareness amongst the Arab American community and the community at large about organ donation.
Okay, since we're talking about the Arab American community, and this is the goal actually of this show, is basically to start the dialogue, start this conversation about organ donation. You know, Hasina, from your background, why do you think this is a topic somehow sensitive in a way where people sometimes they don't want to talk about it?
You know, I think there's a lot of mistrust. I think a lot of it is they just don't know. And a big portion of it, from what I've seen, is that it's always been said that they feel it's against the religion.
Okay.
So I think that's a big one because many people from the Gift of Life, when they approach, sometimes the back is they say it's against the religion.
Okay.
And so it's hard to fight that or to dispel that when that's what's being said.
You're a practicing Muslim, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I know we were speaking before the show about that particular subject. I mean, I'm not a clerk, I'm not a clergy, and I'm not claiming to be. But, you know, as I was telling you before, I promise we are working on a show where we can bring different scholars and different clergies from different religions where they can talk about it from a religious perspective. But I know you mentioned to me the Muslim Council, if I'm not mistaken. Can you talk about that particular thing?
About a year ago or so, we presented at Yale University to the FIC Council, and approximately, I think it was December of December 2018, they had made an announcement that it is officially their stance on it is that it is permissible. So that was something very big that we were waiting on, because there is so much from one clergy to the other, from one imam to another. Some people say it's permissible, some people say it isn't. There's a lot of stipulations. So just recently we did get something from the American Council for the Muslims that it is permissible, and they gave us a fatwa.
Very good. Very good. So just take it to translate a bit on the topic that we're talking about. عم نتحدث عن التبرع بالأعضاء. ليش هيدا الموضوع بالتحديد شوي صعب على العرب امريكان كوميونتي او المسلم كوميونتي ان جنرال، لحتى انه حتى يحكوا فيه لهيدا الموضوع، مش بس انه يفكروا بيتبرعوا، بس انه to start the conversation، بس نحكي بهذا الموضوع. ليه على طول عندنا هيدي المشكله او حساسيه انه نتحدث عن هذا الموضوع؟ شوي تحدثنا انا وحسينا عنه بالريليجيوس باك جراوند، بس مثل ما قلنا لكم ان شاء الله رح يكون معنا شيوخ قريبا من different مذاهب لحتى يتحدثوا عن هذا الموضوع وعن الفتاوي. بس انا بشكل عام حكيت مع بعض الشيوخ امبارح، والفكره العامه انه في تو كاتيجوريز، انه الكاتيجوري اذا الشخص بعده عايش وعم يتبرع بعضو من جسمه، او اذا توفى وعم بده يتوصى انه يتبرع بعضو. في فتوتين مختلفين، بس بشكل عام الفكره العامه انه ما في مشكله انه حدا يتبرع، بس في شروط محدده. ان شاء الله انا ما راح احكي عن هالشروط لانه ماني بموقف انه احكي عن هذه الشروط. ان شاء الله بيكون معنا الشيوخ بحلقه قادمه من هيدا حلقه خاصه من واتساب ميديا نتورك، وفينا نتحدث عن هذا الموضوع بشكل عام. I want the data from you. When we're talking about saving lives,
Yes.
you know how important it is to have, you know, that flood of organ donors to save lives. How important it is.
It is extremely important. We have over 3,000 people here in Michigan that are waiting a life-saving transplant. Every month we provide data with the organization. Over 50% of them are from ethnic minority communities. And those communities that we're counting are the Arab American, African American, and Hispanic communities. And so it's very important. One person who is an organ donor can save up to 8 lives and can enhance the lives of over 75 people. So it's important that everyone sign up on the organ and tissue donor registry. And I just kind of also want to follow up with something that Haseen shared about, like you said, that there has been some misinformation in our various, communities about organ and tissue donation. And if our faith really supports that. And so we do have, we've been doing things at Gift of Life Michigan to educate more about faith. We have various videos now where we have imams that support organ and tissue donation, and we're making sure that we get that information out there. We're working also with the Muslim Council as well as the Interfaith Leadership Council to make sure that we get that message out there. And also we've been working very closely with Access to make sure that we have information that is translated appropriately. And again, we have various champions out there that have been doing some different things.
When we talk about misinformation that those communities have about organ donation, what are some of those misinformation?
Sometimes that misinformation is simply that hospitals will not try to save your lives. And so we know that that is not true. And so having physicians to share that information, we have a leading transplant surgeon who has just been elected president-elect of the American Society of Transplant Physicians, Dr. Marwan Abujoud, to really kind of come and help share that information. We've been working with the nursing population with Najah Bazi and the National Arab American Nurses Association with Rose Khalifa to once again make sure that we're getting that information out into the communities.
And what people don't realize sometimes is that they're separate entities. The physician and the team that's trying to save your life if something was to happen is very separate than the team that's needing the organs for transplant, and it's kept very separate for a reason. Another misconception is that if you were to donate your organ, that the rich or the famous people will get the organ first. And that's not the case either. There's a list that's generated, and it's based on severity of your illness. It's also based on how long you've been, for kidneys at least, how long you've been on dialysis, and a few factors that have nothing to do with...
There's a waiting list,
it's a wait list. Yep. But I mean, the amount of money you have and your fame has nothing to do with that.
Very good. That's two important factors. So we spoke about the hospital will not basically save an effort to save your life. They're going to work their best to save your life. Doesn't play a role.
It's very separate.
Very separate.
And the other one is basically the rich or famous will not get it first.
Right.
Just to translate, so عم نحكي عن بعض الهواجس اللي بتخطر ببال الاشخاص لما بدهم يسجلوا لحتى يتبرعوا باعضائهم. وحده منهم انه بيفكروا انه اذا انا سجلت لحتى اتبرع باعضائي، اذا صار لي شيء لا سمح الله بس روح على المستشفى ما رح يحاولوا انه ينقذوني، يعني رح يتركوني لموت لحتى ياخذوا اعضائي، which is هيدي مش مزبوطه هيدي الفكره. بالعكس المستشفى هيدي الفريق اللي بياخذ الاعضاء غير الفريق اللي بيكون عم بيشتغل بالعمليات وعم بيحاولوا لا سمح الله اذا كان صاير لكم شيء انه ينقذوكم. والفكره الثانيه الخاطئه اللي عندنا هي انه بنفكر اذا تبرعنا بالاعضاء اول شخص بياخذ هودي الاعضاء هو الشخص الغني او الشخص المعروف او المشهور. كمان هيدي فكره كمان مش مزبوطه. فبالعكس في ويتنج ليست وبيست على قديش انت صار لك، فور اكزامبل اذا كدني الكلى قديش عم تغسل كلى او شغلات، قديش صار لك ناطر. هيدي الاونلي كاتيجوري هن بيطلعوا عليها، ما بيطلعوا على شيء ثاني. Any other misinformation that people think about it and prevent them from being on the organ donation registry?
Some people, they think that they cannot be organ donors too. If a patient had diabetes or high blood pressure, from a deceased donor standpoint, they think, oh, well, my organs are no good anyway. You actually can still save many, many lives, even if you are diabetic, even if you have high blood pressure, and other illnesses as well. So I think that that's an important thing to discuss.
Rامona, you want to add anything to that part?
Yeah, also sometimes people say, well, I'm too old to become an organ donor, and there is no age limit on signing up to become an organ and tissue donor.
Okay.
And so again, I think that just getting those that information out.
So age is not an issue. So
age is not an issue.
A person that's 80 years old, they can be on the organ registry and they can donate.
Yes, and they can donate.
So.
We've had our oldest organ donor in the state of Michigan tissue donor has been over the age of 100.
What's the difference between a tissue donor and an organ donor?
Well, organ donors, when we speak of organ donation, we're speaking of heart, liver, lungs, pancreas, and kidneys.
Okay.
And when we speak of tissue donation, we're speaking of heart valves and muscles, skin, cornea, and things of that nature.
So it's more familiar for people when we're talking about kidney, about heart, about lung.
Yes.
When you talk about, for example, valves or skin. So basically when we talk on skin, this is for those who experience burns or stuff?
Burn victims. Also, when we're talking about bone donation for those persons who've had cancer and they need to have bone replaced. So they might have, a lot of people are getting hip replacements and knee replacements and different things of that nature, or sports injuries. And so we're able to help people that way as well.
I'm not very familiar with that portion. Can they give the site, the eyes?
Yes, they can give cornea donation, and we work very closely with Eversight, so yes.
So it's almost every part of your body will be depending. Do you choose when you register to the registry?
You can choose, which is an important one too, because many people, a lot of people feel comfortable with the organ donation.
Exactly, but probably
but the other tissue, but you can choose organs, and you can.
And even in the organ, you can choose which organ you want to donate. Let's say
you would have to afterwards go in and pick that. It's either organs, which are the internal organs, or organs and skin. So.
Okay.
And you can let your family know if you only want to be an organ donor. So again, we encourage people to talk to their families after they sign up on the Michigan Organ Donor Registry.
I think that's one of the most important facts, is talking about it with your family member. Because when you're grieving and somebody just died, whether they're young or they're older and it's expected, it's a very hard time to start thinking about other people. You're grieving and you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your loss. But if you know that the person that died wanted to donate their organs, and that they felt passionate about helping people after they were not here, I think that it's an easier decision to make.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to talk about it beforehand and have that discussion.
Very good, very good. Let me do some translation so we can keep everyone in the loop. So الموضوع الثاني تحدثنا عنه هلا حاليا هو basically انه شو فيكم تتبرعوا، والفرق بين التبرع بالاعضاء والتبرع بالاجزاء، التشيو او الاورجانز. فالشخص فيه يحدد هو شو بده يتبرع، هل يا ترى بده يتبرع باورجانز ولا هل يا ترى بده يتبرع بالتشيوز. يمكن انه نحن لعنا بالعرب اتس مورلي اكسبتد يتبرعوا بالاورجانز مور انه يتبرعوا بالتشيوز، بس كمان كله بينفع العالم. لما بتحكي عن الاورجان دونيشن عم تحكي عن القلب، عم تحكي عن الكلى، عم تحكي عن الروايه، هيدي الشغلات. لما بتحكي عن التشيو دونيشن عم تحكي عن الجلد اللي هو السكن او الشرايين او هيك شغلات خاصه بالانسان، او حتى is cornea considered an organ or a tissue.
Yes.
حتى كورنيه العين كمان هيدي بيعتبروها، مثل الاشخاص بيكون ما عندهم نظر بيستعملوها كمان. فبس الشخص اللي عم يتبرع بهيك شغلات هو بيحدد اي عضو من جسمه بده يتبرع فيه. وكمان الاذر امبورتنت فاكتور اللي هن يتحدثوا عنه انه كمان لازم الشخص يتحدث مع عن اهله عن هذا الموضوع ويخبرهم انه هو حابب بعد ما ماتوا يتبرع بهيك الشغلات لحتى هن يكون عندهم معرفه بهيدا الموضوع. So you mentioned talking to your family because when it happens, everyone is mourning and stuff, and they should basically know what's going on. So when someone dies, how is the process how's the process of organ donation goes, and how long does it take?
Okay. When a person dies and they're declared brain death, someone from the hospital contacts Gift of Life Michigan. All deaths are called into Gift of Life Michigan. Once that call comes in, then we begin a process of taking that call, contacting another organization to see people that are on the waiting list and different things of that time. But also we have persons that will go out to the hospital, so that there are a lot of processes that are occurring at the same time. Our family support persons are going out to the hospital to support, as you just mentioned, that grieving family. Our donation coordinators are also being sent to the hospital to help to maintain the donor, as well as our donor service persons are answering a call and they're talking about and sending that information to get blood type and all type of medical information that is important for us to match those particular organs. And then once that occurs and the UNOS lets us know which persons in Michigan are going to be a match for those particular organs with blood type, size, and things of that nature, then the process begins to go differently. And so again, there's persons that are there at the hospital supporting the family. They're the donation coordinators. And if people have a spiritual person that they want to also have on hand, then we have that person there as well. And then once that happens and we have found the matches for those particular organs, as Hasenia mentioned, a different transplant team now comes into the hospital to recover those organs. For heart, lung, we have about anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. Liver, we have about 8 hours. For kidneys, we have anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. But our goal is to make sure that once we have all those persons in the hospital to receive the organs, that once we begin to recover the organs, that we have those persons there. And so, there's a lot of, again, behind the scenes, that's going on. And one of the things that happened last year was we did focus groups in the community.
Awesome.
And the focus groups asked us about the process. And so right now we're in the process of also doing a video to give people inside information. Always visuals help. To give people a visual of what really happens. So.
Awesome.
And it's very important in the Arab American and all communities that the body is treated with dignity after death. And that's very important. And some of the myths is that afterwards it's savagely opened and that sort of thing. So we want the community to know that everything is handled with dignity for the deceased. So that's an important factor as well to consider.
Yes,
awesome.
Yes. In fact, one of the things that happens at our surgery center at Gift of Life Michigan is that there is a prayer that is done before that. So there is a reverence that is provided for the body. And so,
very good.
I signed my license and I have a heart to donate, and I know when my family first saw that, they were like, "Oh, are you going to be an organ donor?" I said, "Yes. If the last thing that I do on earth is save 8 people's lives, enhance and improve 50 to 75 people's lives, that's what I want to do, and have that be my mark."
Why did that was your goal basically? You wanted to be part of saving lives?
Yeah, for sure. This is something when you sign up, they give you like a heart, you put it on your driver's license. It designates you as a organ donor and if you were to pass. Of course, we're all going to pass, but eventually. But yeah, so because I wanted my family to be aware that that's my wishes.
How was the reaction to it?
Initially, it was like, "Really, you signed it? You have a heart?" But then my daughter, who's an adult, she signed it as well, and my sister signed it.
Oh, wow.
And my dad, who's in his 70s, also said, they want my organs, they can keep them, you know? So it's just a matter of having that conversation and having, trusting the other side too. And I think with my family, because they know that I work with the transplant center, and I know that there's processes in place that protect us as patients going in there seeking treatment, that I feel that they're more comfortable with it.
So from you know, I just want to basically translate what was said. We were talking about how يعني بعد ما الواحد يتوفى كيف هو بتصير البروسس تبع انه ياخذوا الاعضاء منه. كثير من العالم عندهم فكره انه الطريقه اللي بتصير هي بفوتوا ببلشوا تكسير وقصص فهيدي لا مش مزبوط. الطريقه هي بيحترموا الانسان وبيحترموا حتى لو الانسان على فراش الموت بيحترموه كرامته للانسان، فبيتعاملوا معه بطريقه مزبوطه وفي سبورت تيم بيكون عم بيتعامل مع الاهل كمان. حسب اي عضو من الجسم رح يتاخذ من الوحده بيفرق الوقت تبع العمليه anywhere من 6 ساعات لاوقات ل 24 ساعه، بس بهيدا الوقت كله بيتعامل الفريق المختص مع الاهل ومع البادي بطريقه كتير محترمه وبابي كرامتهم. وكنت عم بحكي مع حسينة شوي عن انه هي كعرب امريكان كمسلم امريكان تسجلت انه تكون اورجان دونر. كيف كان تلقي اهلها لهذا الموضوع؟ اول شيء قلتي لي انه شوي
They were like, oh, you're doing this, why? Ooh, you know, there was some skepticism.
How long did it take for them?
You know, I think my daughter, she's a nurse, so I think her, she kind of like was like, okay. And then when she went to go renew her or get her license, she signed up, so it didn't take long. Other family members, because I've been in transplant for so long, I think in the last few years they signed up. So
it's very good. So حسينة عم تحكي عن عائلتها انه كيف تلقوا الموضوع. اول شيء ما كانوا مرحبين كثير بالموضوع، بس بعدين شوي رحبوا الفكره، وبعض يعني مثل بنتها مثل اختها تسجلوا لحتى يكونوا يتبرعوا باعضائهم. To register, the process of registering, where can you do it? Is it online? Is it at the Secretary of State?
It's both places. You can do it online at Gift of Life Michigan. So you can go to www.golm.org and sign up. And you can also do it at the Secretary of State's office. And sometimes people say, well, do I have to wait until I renew my license? No, you don't have to wait. You can just, again, go in and let everyone know that you want to sign up. And I think that's, again, why it's so important about this campaign that we have entitled Let's Talk About It. As Hasenia just said, after she signed up, and because her family trusts her and they've seen her working in this particular industry, and they know that there is a process in place. And like what you said, in fact, there are various processes in place. And so that's why it's so important for us to have this conversation. That's why we're having these dialogue circles in the community so people can come and share some of their concerns, as well as for us to get a chance to not only to listen to those concerns, but address them like what we're doing with the process video, translating educational materials, and having persons like Hasenia go out into the community and educate the community more about organ donation.
And I know you have one that we're going to be talking about very soon. It's the one that you guys are doing at the Arab American Museum.
Yes.
Let's talk about it a bit. What's the goal of this event, and who's going to be talking, and what's going on?
Well, the goal of the event is to once again to invite people to come in and have a conversation about organ and tissue donation, to have persons who are organ recipients, donor family members, physicians, people that work in the industry to come in and talk about it, as well as to have people in the community, because they're our greatest resource, to let us know what else do we need to be doing to make sure that that message is getting through. And so that'll be that's the focus of the conversation.
And
is
who's
really
going to be basically on the panel?
Right now, I think there's a recipient by the name of Mustafa, who is a liver recipient, and he will be on the panel. Hopefully, we'll have one of our physicians that will be on the panel. Dr. Corey, I believe, will be on the panel. And I believe Hasenia will be on the panel.
Along with, there's a few other people that have been exposed to transplant and organ donation and touched by it. So we want to hear their stories. Their stories. And I think one of the goals is to have the questions answered, because we don't really know what people are thinking, what the newest myth is, because the questions that we get asked, it's like, where did that come from? Like, How was that polled? So, and then what we think is a myth or you know, a misconception from 5 years ago is maybe something very different. So it's a way to start the conversation. We encourage people to talk to their peers, to talk to their clergy, their family members, and at least start the dialogue, and you know, work together as a community to help each other out.
I mean, I think it's very important, and that's one aspect that you mentioned, that one of the guys who basically was a recipient of an organ transplant was of a background that's the area that you're trying to target, which is the Arab American community. And that's very important for people to listen the stories of those from their own, to see that this is something benefiting you. And I have some data actually that you guys shared with me before we started the show. If you don't mind me, I'm going to say some of these data and translate them in Arabic. That basically 20 people die each day waiting for a life-saving transplant, and more than half are ethnic minorities. That's a big number.
That's a big number.
But we don't have more than half of organ donors from minorities, right?
That's correct.
What's the percentage? Do you have the percentage?
We have about 25 to 30% of our donors are of ethnic minority, and so again, so as you say, we're our need rate and our donation rate. We're trying to see if we can close that gap. Yes, yes.
At least let's close the.
Let's talk about closing that gap.
Okay, very good. So while the need for organ is great in multicultural communities, this group are often more reluctant to join the Michigan Organ Donor Registry. And we spoke about some of the reasons or some of the misinformation those communities have. I know for the Arab American community, the religion play a big role, but for other minorities, what could be some of the reasons from your experience, Ramona?
Some of the reasons are again very similar. Sometimes our religion, and so that's why it has been so important for us to work with interfaith religious leaders to get that message about organ and tissue. Also, the same thing about people feeling as though that the rich and famous will get the organs. And so what we find out is that there's some very similar myths throughout all of our ethnic minority communities, and so addressing them, but having those specific persons. So that's why it was important for us to have the imams address the issue and not a pastor from a different faith. And so I think that because of that, just us seeing that we can address the issues, we can talk about them, we can make a difference in our own communities, because again, people were saying the same thing. They need to see people in their community that's being affected by it, see people in their community that is making a difference, and trusting those people in the community.
100%.
So,
I mean, the number one and number two reasons of kidney disease is high blood pressure and diabetes. Those affect the Arab American community heavily, and you're more likely to need an organ than actually donate an organ. So that's why it's so
نقطة كتير مهمة، إنه أنت أكتر يمكن تكون بحاجة لأنه بدك عضو أكتر ما إنه النيد لحتى إنه تتبرع بعضو. بس نقطة كتير مهمة عم بتقولها حسينة، إنه سبيشلي إحنا بالأورب أمريكان كوميونتي عندنا مشكلة كتير بالسكري وبضغط الدم، وهيدا من أكتر الأسباب اللي بيأثروا على الكلى. فكتير اشخاص من الارب امريكان كوميونتي بيعانوا من هيدي الامراض اللي هن السكري وضغط الدم، وهودي بياثروا على الكلى، وعلى المدى الطويل الشخص بيكون بحاجه انه ينزرع له، يعني بيصير عنده بيعمل غسيل للكلى. هيدي مش معروفه اكثر شيء عندنا، انه قصه غسيل الكلى، وبصير الواحد تقريبا 3 ايام بالجامعه بده يروح يغسل كلى depending على الكيس تبعه. مزبوط. That's your field.
Yeah, they're usually dialysis. They can do hemodialysis, which is 3 days a week, or they can do peritoneal, but the quality of life is not there, and the longevity is not there either. So the gold standard in treatment for kidney disease is transplant.
بس واحد تقولوا له for example لازم ينحط له كدني، قديش الويت بيكون؟
يعني it's حسب ال blood type, and there's a couple other factors, but it can be anywhere from 3 to 7 years on the waiting list if you don't have a living donor. Now, if somebody comes in, which many people do, with a living donor, that's much faster. Once they finish their testing and the recipient finishes their workup, the donor finishes their testing, and then there's a surgery scheduled. Those, the outcomes are excellent. Improvement is right away. The kidney works and functions right away, and the living donor many times can go back to work after 2 to 4 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
كثير منيح. سو بقصة الكلى اوقات الاشخاص النطرة اذا ما عندك حدا anywhere من 4 ل 7 سنين sometimes بتكون اكثر، بس اذا اشخاص بيجوا بيكون عندهم living donor يعني حدا عايش بيعرفوه بيكون قرايبهم او شيء بيتبرع لهم بكلية لهم، فهيدي اوقات بتساعدهم وبيكون البروسس شوي اسرع بهيدا الموضوع. Ramona, what are some of the stuff you really want to, people in our community to know about organ donation? What do you want them to know? What's the idea you want to stick in their minds when they're thinking about organ donation?
I want them to know that they can trust the process.
Okay.
I want them to know that any question that they ask, we are willing to try to answer it as much as possible. I want them to know that there is permissibility of organ and tissue donation. I want them to know that, and that their faith also supports organ and tissue donation. I want them to know that that the body is treated with reverence and respect.
Awesome.
And that we have a wonderful opportunity to save and enhance lives when our life has been transformed from what we know today.
Very good.
So.
Yeah, no, you covered everything. You didn't leave much for me, but no, that's exactly.
Awesome. As an Arab American, what would you want to tell our community to encourage them to register, or to at least encourage them to talk to someone about the idea, or to come to the event on Sunday? And we want to tell you there is no commitment to come. I mean, when you come, you're not going to register to basically be an organ donor. Just come to learn about the process.
And ask the questions.
And ask the questions, exactly.
And discuss and be part of the team,
Yes.
The more involved you are, the more you're going to understand. And if you're sitting at the table, you're at the table. Your representation is there.
Yeah.
So I know I work with the transplant team, and I'm there. I'm a representative for the Arab American community, the Muslim community too. And anybody could be part of that community as well.
Yes.
So the more involved you are, the more you're going to know what the process is inside and out, and maybe help dispel some of the myths.
اوكي سو عم نقول لكم انه كثير مهم للجاليه تبعنا انه تسال السؤالات، يعني مش غلط الواحد يسال، مش غلط الواحد يطمن باله لما بيكون عم يتحدث بهيدي المواضيع، بس اهم شيء انه نبلش ونتحدث عن هيدي المواضيع، لانه اذا ما تحدثنا عنها كيف بدنا نعرف؟ يعني اذا واحد كان منغلق على حاله وما عم بيسال السؤالات اللي لازم يسالها، كيف بدنا نعرف شو هو هيدا البروسس، وهل يا ترى منيح ولا مش منيح، وهل يا ترى انا فيني اعمله ولا ما فيني اعمله؟ ففي اكثر من شغله فيكم تعملوها لحتى تتعرفوا على هذا الموضوع. اكيد ما تروحوا على جوجل. نحن we are very famous as a community or in general as a human that anytime we have a problem with our body or a problem we want to talk about, we go to Google and we Google it. And we expect Google to be the doctor and to be the psychologist and to be the physician and everything. So بدي يوصلكم اياها الفكره انه مش تطلعوا على جوجل تطلعوا تحطوا صور organ donation وتشوفوا صور وقصص وتخافوا من هالشغله، بالعكس احكوا مع حدا مختص بهذا الموضوع، احكوا مع حدا صار له بهذا الفيلد من زمان. في ايفنت رح يصير عندنا هون بالارب امريكان كوميونتي بديربون نهار الاحد. What time is the event on Sunday?
It's from 11 o'clock till 2
It's from 11 to 2 من الساعه 11 للساعه 2 الاحد ب 14 الشهر. هيدا الأحد من الساعة 11 للساعة 2 بالأرب أمريكان ناشونال ميوزيوم بالمتحف العربي الأمريكي الموجود على شيفر وميشيغان أفنيو بديربون. رح يكون في أشخاص من different background رح يتحدثوا عن بعض الأشخاص رح يكونوا هودي اللي actually عملوا لهم عمليات وحصلوا على أعضاء من الأرب أمريكان كوميونتي. بعضهم رح يكونوا بيشتغلوا بهيدا الفيلد، بعضهم رح يكونوا من ميشيغان جيفت اوف لايف ميشيغان، وكمان رح يكون في دكاتره ونيرسز. فكتير مهم انه تروحوا وتسالوا السؤالات، مش انه اذا رحت على هيدا الايفنت خلص رح يو ريجستر لحتى تصير اورجان دونر، بس اتليست انه فيك تسال السؤالات اللي بدك اياها، فيك تسمع من غيرك اللي هن كان عندهم هواجس وكيف هيدي الهواجس تبددت وقدروا انه يتسجلوا بهذا الموضوع. حسينة, as a professional, what are some things that you can do to change the negative perspective about organ and tissue donation?
I think just for me to be like an honest advocate for the patients, and based on where I work and what I do. So being an honest advocate is what I aim and try to do. Involving the community as much as possible, knowing what some of the myths are and helping dispel some is what I want to do too.
We spoke a bit about the trust. How can medical professions that works in that area build that trust with anyone, but especially with the Arab American community?
Well, we're trying to engage the Arab American community right now for them to be involved. We welcome them to, sit at the table and help with decision making. The more involved that one can be, the better. That can help, definitely.
Rامونا, do you have something you want to add about this topic?
Again, I think that Hasenia said is all. I think by getting the community involved, we know that the community makes a tremendous difference. By getting the clerics involved, by getting the medical professionals involved, and making sure that any questions that people have are answered. Again, and by making sure that that everyone knows that they can trust the process. As she said, we want to be trusted as stewards in honoring life through donation, and so that is our goal. We encourage people, if they want to come to Gift of Life Michigan, especially the medical personnel, to tour our facility and see how the process works there. We encourage that also. So I think that's what we want to do, and I want to also remind everyone that for Sunday, when you come out, we are going to have food, because again, this is a conversation. And what we know in all communities is that we gather around food and we talk about those issues that are important to us.
That's very true. That's very true. أكيد الأهم شيء مثل ما عم بيشددوا عليه ضيوفنا اليوم بالحلقة إنه الواحد يطلع ويسق بالبروسس، وإذا ما نكون وثيقين بالبروسس فيكم تتواصلوا مع جمعية gift of life, right? And then هن فيكم يعملوا لكم تور بالفاسيلتي تبعهم، وفيكم تشوفوا كيف البروسس بيصير، وبيفرجوكم على كتير شغلات لحتى تتأكدوا من هيدا البروسس. We're coming to the end of our conversation. If you want someone to take something out of this 30-minute conversation that we had right now, what's the message you want to send to them?
I want to send the message of, let's talk about this conversation. Let's come to the table and sit down in ways before we are faced with those end-of-life decisions, and talk about them now while everyone is healthy, so everyone will know your decision. I want them to know that they can trust the process, and that they can trust us as advocates and ambassadors working together in the community.
And can you remind people about the data, about how many lives can be saved from someone that's being an organ donor?
Someone being an organ donor can save up to 8 lives, and as a solid organ donor, and that tissue that we mentioned can help enhance the lives of over 75 people.
Wow.
And so every time a person signs up to become an organ donor, just think about the amount of lives that one person can save. And as Hasenia said, that many times because of diabetes and hypertension in our ethnic communities especially, the lives that we're saving are our own. So let's talk about this conversation, and let's close that gap between what is needed and what is given.
You know, one point that you just mentioned right now, saying you're saving your own. So can they say who they want to donate that stuff for, or you guys determine how it works?
Primarily when you sign up on the organ donor registry, it's not directed, so you save all lives.
Okay.
But because especially for kidney donations, we're doing antigen matches, that many times you will match someone in your own ethnic community.
Okay.
If by chance, however, that there is someone on the organ donor registry list that you know, you can do something that is called directed donation. So yes, you can.
Very good. Very important point. Hasina?
Yeah, and another important point is that if you're in need of an organ transplant, you should, and willing to accept an organ, you should at least be willing to consider donating. I think that's an important one. And just come out on Sunday, get engaged, get to know more information. Knowledge is power.
Very important discussion. تحدثنا فيها اليوم عن we spoke about different topics related to organ donation. We talked about the process. We talked about some of the misinformation that people think about organ donation, especially when it comes to the Arab American community. We spoke about some of the statistics and the data, and it really shows when we're talking organ donation, you can save up to 8 lives, and when we're talking tissue donation, we're talking in the 70 or 75. So you make a big difference. Even when you die, you're still saving life. And this is something big, to be honest with you. It's not. So, but we just want to translate in short so we can basically end this conversation. كتير مهم اللي نحكى اليوم. إذا عندكم حيلا سؤال عن اللي حكيناه اليوم فيكم تتواصلوا معنا ونحن we'll connect you to the right people. بنخليكم تتواصلوا مع الأشخاص اللي كانوا معنا اليوم. بس كمان كتير مهم لنا إنه نسأل السؤالات ونحكي وتستارت هيدي المحادثة عن التبرع بالأعضاء عنا بالعرب American community. I believe this is the first time this topic actually being talked about in our community. I've never heard an organization or anyone that spoke about this topic before. This is very important to start the conversation.
This is very important to start the conversation. What we know is we've done it, but we've never done it at this particular level.
Yeah.
And I think that that was the great thing about having the focus groups in the community and them telling us what they wanted to hear and know.
100%.
Yes.
No, 100%. This is very important. At least we can start the conversation. Like I mentioned before, they are expert in their field. This is what they do for life. I know you guys asked us to, when we announced, to basically get the religious opinion of that topic in specific, and I promise you guys we're already getting that show ready. Hopefully by next week we can announce it. And we basically just keep an eye on the page because we're going to announce the event, that show very soon. We're going to have different clergy and they're going to talk about the topic from a religious perspective. I want to thank everyone that's tuned in. Make sure if you have any question, you can send it to us via inbox. If they want to reach Michigan, the Gift of Life Michigan, what's the phone number?
They can call us at 1-866-500-5601. I think I gave the right number.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
You want me to double check the number somewhere? So it's 866-500-5801.
58. I get that 8 and 6 mixed up.
Okay,
5801.
awesome. So I'm glad I have this. We don't want to discuss on it. حلو واحد عنده سؤال. Anybody that has a question that would like to reach to, Gift of Life Michigan directly, their main number is 866-500-5801. I just want to remind you guys about the event on Sunday, July 14, from 11 to 2 at the Arab American National Museum. They're going to have a panel full of experts, full of people who basically were recipient of organ donations, organ transplant. So it's very important for you guys to be there. كتير مهم لكم تكونوا موجودين هونيك نهار الأحد بالمتحف العربي الأمريكي الموجود على ميشيغان وشيفر بمدينة ديربون من الساعة 11 للساعة 2. رح يكون في أشخاص اختصاصيين بهذا الموضوع، أشخاص هن حصلوا على أعضاء من متبرعين. فكتير مهم أنه نجي، كتير مهم أنه نسأل السؤالات إذا عنا سؤالات ونستمع للأشخاص اللي هن عندهم خبرة طويلة بهذا الموضوع. نحن إن شاء الله مفروض باي نكست ويك من هون لهون الجمعة الجاي نكون نعمل لكم حلقة لنتحدث عن نفس الموضوع بس من الناحية الدينية لهذا الموضوع. Final words for both of you before we end this show.
Again, I'm just excited about it. I want to thank you for having us on because that is how that we really began to get into the community. So let's talk about this on Sunday.
Let's talk about it.
Thank you for having us on as well. It would be nice for them to come out, talk. You can talk about living donation. You can talk about transplant. There's still a lot of myths about that too, and about deceased donation. So it'd be nice to be able to talk to people, engage the community, at least get an idea of what new questions people have, what new myths people have that we can help them overcome.
Yes.
Very good. أنا بدي أتشكركم بدوري لمتابعتكم لهيدي الحلقة. Anybody that has a question فيكم على طول تتواصلوا معنا على واتساب ميديا نتورك. رقم التليفون لنا هو 313-258-6799. أنا بدي أتشكركم كل اللي تابعتونا. بتمنى إنه تعملوا شير لهيدي الحلقة لحتى نوصل لأكبر عدد ممكن من العالم، لحتى أكبر عدد ممكن من العالم يبلش يحكي عن هيدا الموضوع ويبلش يسأل عن هيدا الموضوع. again أنا بتشكركم لمتابعتكم لهيدي الحلقة. كان معكم حسين هاشم من واتساب ميديا نتورك ويب تي في. إلى أن نلتقي في حلقة قادمة. شكرا لمتابعتكم. بس بحب أذكركم أن اليوم على الساعة 7 في حلقة خاصة للدكتور محمد هزيمة كمان بده يتحدث فيها عن الويت لاس ومواضيع تانية. فتابعونا اليوم بلايف تاني على الساعة 7 بعد الظهر. إلى اللقاء، إلى أن نلتقي مجددا. شكرا.
أول ما بتلتقوا بحدا بتسألوه شو الأخبار، لهيك لنكون قراب منكن ونحكي لغتكن سمينا حالنا شو الأخبار. بلشنا بخطوة وماشيين بآلاف الأميال، خلينا شغفنا الخبر والعين اللي بنشوف فيها هالدنيا عدست كاميرتنا. قررنا نكون منكن وإلكن، شاركنا فرحكن وحزنكن، شاركنا مشاكلكن ووجعكن، وكنا ورح نضل منبر لجاليتنا. شو الأخبار ويب تي في بقى كبيرة ومتنوعة، برامج حوارية، تقارير إخبارية، برامج ترفيه، برامج ثقافية، بالإضافة إلى إعلاناتكن. شو الأخبار؟ الخبر اليقين. تابعونا الآن.